Yeah, brother. So it seems like I've been asked this question a lot. And I can tell you what I do know about what Jake and Gilbert, because, Jake and Gilbert and I all shared the same doctor in San Francisco. I remember when the doctor told me, like, hey, I treat Gilbert Melendez, or however I found out, then the doctor would try to talk to Gil about me. And Gil didn't he acted like he didn't know who I was. And Gil knows a lot of people, right? Like that fighting that era. So when the doctor would try to describe him, and then finally Gil figured it out with me when he was talking to me one day. And then later he said, I introduced Jake to Doc. And Jake apparently knew quite a bit about steroids to the doctor, a lot more than the doctor. He wanted some type of crystalline steroids that I don't know if they're less detectable or what they are. But this is a long way of saying I know nothing about whether Nick and Nate did steroids. I can tell you, me personally, and this is my opinion, I recognize it's my opinion and not valuable at all in any sense beyond just an opinion, is I looked at their chins, and their chins were absolute iron, right? They absorbed punishment, and they just kept going. And for me, my biggest value of testosterone was my ability to absorb punishment, which really translates to my ability to make mistakes, get clipped, and keep going and clip people back, right? And on top of that, your hand-eye coordination is a lot better. And I always laugh. I'd have even teammates back then say, like, steroids doesn't help your chin. And I've laughed to myself, yes, it does. Steroids help in just about every way. And steroids, it can be indeed a negative too, right? Like, they can slow you down a little bit because they put more muscle on you by definition, and that can hurt your cardio. But then you get into whole EPOs and everything else. I don't know whether Nick and Nate were doing steroids or not. I remember back then I said, how could they have chins like that if they weren't, right? But everybody's body's got a different pain threshold and tolerance threshold for whatever that may be, alcohol, drugs, whatever. And so maybe those two kids were born with absolutely outstanding chins. But I have no inside knowledge that they ever used juice. I know their team did, right? I know Jake and Gil did for 100% for sure. That was really the way they compensated for a lack of any skill in stand-up. And Gil was slicker than Jake was, but they didn't really have any skill. But they could make mistakes, right? They could get hit, and it made them durable and whatnot. And the steroids is what made them able to do what they did. Now, Gil was a great wrestler, right? Like, so his double leg was great, and then his ground and pound was great, right? Like, and I think some of the testosterone helped him there too. Jake happens to be like an otherworld grappler, right? Like, he grabs you and he's like a garbage disposal, right? So that is where his strength came from. And as far as the stand-up goes for those guys, they were just durable enough not to go anywhere because of the juice they were on. Nick and Nate, I got no idea, man. Your guess is as good as mine, brother. Like and follow for more on the fight game.